Right, I'm at Marsden railway station. I'm about to embark on one of the Peak District's classic walks. That's the Marsden to Edale challenge walk. Like I say, the walk starts here at Marsden and finishes at Edale, 22 miles away. There's no set route, but the traditional crossing involves going over Black Hill, Bleaklow and Kinder Scout by the shortest route, which in tow is the safest or the easiest. So it's really time to start and we'll head off on the walk. Right, the first thing is to get out of Marsden. We walk past the railway public house on our right hand side and head down Station Road. At the bottom of Station Road, turn right along Church Lane, then go under a bridge along Fall Lane, and then eventually about 400 metres you go over onto Bin Road. Head up Bin Road and then turn right and then start walking up the Wessenden Valley. Right, as you head up Bin Road, this is the footpath sign to Wessenden Valley, and if you turn right here, after about 200 or 300 metres we come to Butterley Reservoir. From here we walk up the set of steps. There is actually 210 steps and somebody has kindly chalked that on. Right, we're at Wessenden Head Reservoir now. Just looking back down to Wessenden Lodge, that's where we joined the Pennine Way. So we've just got to follow this track about another half a mile and we're then at the top of the Wessenden Valley. We're at the top of the Wessenden Valley now, at Wessenden Head. We can look down on Wessenden Head Reservoir. We're on the Pennine Way still, and then our next objective is the top of Black Hill. So when we get to Black Hill we'll have done about 6 miles. There's also a warning down here. Would appear Dean Clough River can be difficult in heavy rain. Right, we've just come down to Dean Clough. This was what the warning sign was about. As you can see, the water level is pretty low, no problem getting across there, but it's very narrow, so I could imagine in heavy rainfall you would have difficulty getting across. Right, we're on the top of Black Hill, heading towards the summit. As you can see, it's pretty easy going as it's paved nearly all the way. I dare say without the paving you would be just ploughing through bogs now. So the trig point is not far away. Right, this is the summit of Black Hill. From here the walk starts to get a bit more interesting. We leave the safety of the Pennine Way and the paved footpaths and we're going to head out across open moorland. We're wanting to head towards Toolyshaw Moor. I've taken a compass reading and I've got a reading of about 156 degrees. So that puts me in a direction straight over there. There's no definite footpath. The only thing I can say, there's a small cairn on the horizon and we want to head towards that, but it does look very wet and boggy. Right, keep following that bearing of 156 degrees. You will pass some very wet ground, as you can see here. Eventually a more definite path sort of appears, although still very wet, and in the distance you should see a small cairn. You need to aim for that. As you approach the cairn, keep on the footpath and go straight past the cairn, heading towards Tooley Shore Moor. Eventually a more definite footpath is reached, and you need to follow this over Tooley Shore Moor and then over West End Moss, dropping down to Crowden and the Woodhead Reservoir. We just dropped down from West End Moss, come to a triangulation pillar on Hay Moss. From here we're going to take a 200-degree bearing. That will get us straight down to Woodhead Reservoir. It's a direct route and very steep. From here you can see the direct route, which is very steep, straight down to Woodhead Reservoir. There's a small car park here, and with a signpost. After about 3/4 of a mile down the track, on the left, you'll see this sign for Wildboar Clough. Turn left here and start climbing up through the woods. If you keep to the right of the clough as you're ascending, eventually, as you clear the trees, you'll come to a fence and a stile. At this point, you have to decide which way you want to go. If you want to go up Wildboar Clough itself and climb up the waterfalls, go over there to the left and start ascending. If you don't want to go up the waterfalls, you can take a direct route up the right hand side. It's very steep, but it will avoid the waterfalls. Keeping with the traditional way, I'm going to head off up Wildboar Clough and tackle the waterfalls. This is where the sides of the clough really steepen and the scrambling gets more exciting. Up there we can see the next main obstacle. They were all fairly straightforward, but you want to see what's coming next. Right, this is the last major obstacle of Wildboar Clough. The first little waterfall is no problem. The one after it is very steep, very wet, and it's covered in moss. So I'm not going to climb that one. I'm on my own, and it's not really safe on my own. So I'm going to skirt round this left-hand edge, and that'll safely get me up to the top. Right, that's the last waterfall, so it's just easy stroll up the riverbed now to the top of Wildboar Clough. Eventually, at the top of Wildboar Clough, it veers off to the left. At that point, we're going to head off across the open moorland to Bleaklow Head. There's no features at all, so the only way is by compass bearing. I've taken a reading of 150 degrees, so that should get us across the moor, and we should meet the Pennine Way, and then from there head up to Bleaklow Head. So it's off in that direction. This stone marker confirms we're on the Pennine Way again. Right, so we've arrived on Bleaklow Head now. We've got the summit here. It's just marked by the large cairn with the stake on top. So from here we carry on along the Pennine Way, heading down to the Snake Pass. From Bleaklow Head to the Snake will take about an hour to walk down to. It's mostly downhill, and a lot of the way is flagged as it's part of the Pennine Way. Right, we've just crossed over the A57 Snake Pass. That's the signpost for the Pennine Way. Like I say, we're taking the direct route to Edale from here. So we veer off the Pennine Way, go over featherbed, moss, and then we should eventually drop down to a shooting cabin where there's the footbridge across the River Ashop. Obviously from here it's got to be via compass, so I've taken a reading. The bearing is 175 degrees magnetic. That should take us over featherbed moss and then straight down to the shooting cabin where we can get across the footbridge and then tackle Kinder's northern edges head on. Right, we've just come down from featherbed moss to the shooting cabin we were heading towards. That was a good bearing, we hit it spot on, and alongside that we've got the footbridge across the River Ashop. From here, it's 700 feet straight up to Kinder's north edge. You can actually see where you are heading when you've climbed up the first bit, but if the mist was down or it was in cloud, then a bearing of 170 degrees from the footbridge will get you up onto the edge, about the right location. As you can see, this first bit from the footbridge is very steep. It does get a bit gentler after a bit, but as you approach the northern edge, it gets very steep. It's near vertical. You have to scramble up the last bit to get onto the top of Kinder Scout. So just catch my breath. So from here, we'll head off up Black Ashop Moor to the Kinder Scout Plateau. Very steep this last bit, but we've just got a bit more scrambling to go, and we should be on the top of Kinder Plateau. Getting near to the top now, just a bit of scrambling for the last bit. Once on top of Kinder's northern edge, we follow the footpath to the left round to the River Fairbrook, at the top of Fairbrook Naze. Some stunning views from here. That's looking over to the west with Manchester in the distance. We've also got fantastic views looking east towards Sheffield. This is the path following the edge to the left round to the top of Fairbrook Naze. That's where we're going to head across the Kinder Plateau from. Right, we're at the top of Fairbrook Naze now, just where the River Fairbrook starts on Kinder Scout's northern edge. From here we've got a 2-kilometre crossing of Kinder Scout's plateau. It's basically featureless, so the only way to get across is by use of compass and map, and it's essentially use those even in fine weather, or you can so easily get lost. I've taken a bearing, and from here 150 degree bearing should get me to the top of Wildboar Clough, where it's then just a 1 mile walk down to Edale. So I'm going to take my compass bearing and head off. As you cross Kinder Plateau, you'll come across some very deep groughs. Usually you've got to drop down one side and scramble up the other side. Sometimes the peat groughs are so deep and wet in the bottom, the only way across really is to jump them. The peat is pretty dry at the moment, as we haven't had much rain, but if you came across here after the rain, you'd quite easily sink up to your knees in the peat. It's you can see how you can so easily get lost, because you follow the groughs and it's like a maze. You can think you're heading in the right direction and you're actually walking around in circles. Right, we've nearly crossed over Kinder Plateau. Got a good view of Wildboar Knoll in the distance, so we know Wildboar Clough is just down there in the bottom. 1 mile to go, so we've just got Wildboar Clough to go down, and that will get us to Edale. This first section is very steep and very rocky, so it's probably time to take great care. I'm feeling tired myself, and this does not do your knees very good at all. It is very steep, very rocky, and if it's been raining, it can be very slippy. So off we go. I'm now at Edale railway station, and that's the end of the walk. I'm feeling tired and ready to sit down. Walking across the open moorland really drains your energy. 20 miles on a normal footpath is relatively easy for a day's walking. In the future, I intend doing this walk each year, so as to prove to myself I can still do it as I get older. And I'd also like to try a winter crossing. I'm sure that would be very challenging. Anyway, I can see my train approaching, so it's back to Sheffield.